as promised, here I am, consistent-ish, not daily, but little check-ins, little conversations as life continues. Uh, I have decided that after about a month, I'm gonna do a retrospective slash look back at how what the heart reads went, because if you guys didn't know, if you're I don't know how you would possibly not know, but my book came out, What the Heart Reads, which is available on every single platform. I made the decision to go wide, which means that I'm not in Kindle Unlimited, which has its own I don't know. I'm not really sure if I'm equipped right this second to discuss in detail why I made that decision. But basically, I didn't want to rely on a single platform, especially at the moment, allegedly given the amount of AI books that are currently being pushed out and the increase in just low content, and just there's just a big jump in the kinds of books that are being pushed out on Amazon. And I've seen a lot of people having issues of getting taken down because of all kinds of reasons, like giving out free copies of the book could potentially infringe upon the Kindle Unlimited aspect, and all that. So I am wide, which means I've through Ingram Spark, through Drafted Digital, and through Amazon as well, which is where the majority of my sales came through. But yeah, theoretically, and this is something that I might do. I don't know if it's like a right now thing, but I am technically in a position to be able to just directly sell copies of my book, and then I would retain like more of the percentage, I guess. But for now, the my priority was just getting a book out and then seeing the response. Uh, good and bad. Although at the moment everyone's been very supportive, and any critiques that I've gotten have been valid. But this does again push me back to my what I said. I think I said this previously, but I really want to have like 100 books out. I want to have so many books out that I have little piles of them, and I could be like, "Oh, you wanna read a mystery, or you wanna read a horror, or you wanna read sci-fi or fantasy?" Like, I wanna write lots of different kinds of things, and I wanna write them, and be able to, I I see people and they have maybe 1 book out, and then they spend, like, a year or 2 marketing this 1 book, and I just don't think I could do that because I think it would just annoy me. 'Cause man, marketing is like a whole other area of content when it comes to books, and that's I understand why people go with traditional publishing because you get some help with that. But at the end of the day, you still have to market your own books, even if you're a traditionally published author. And it's always interesting as well because people will be independently published and then transition to traditional, and then they also go the other way, where they'll be traditionally published and then go into indie. So I don't know. Uh, I never did any querying. I've never, ever, ever, ever professionally queried, and I don't know if that's good or bad. I just am a control freak, and I wanna be able to get my hands on it, and also, again, just kind of work that I do, I just have the luxury of, like, a platform. At the moment, though, the book I think I've sold almost 300 books, which is cool. And people have been sending me photos of them reading the book on their Kindles or e-readers, and then also, getting physical copies and stuff. So that's awesome. It makes me mauled because I really just want to write another one and another one and another one. Um, but that's kind of where I'm at right now. I mean, I think I said this previously, but I technically, hmm, I guess I'll phrase this line of thought differently. I'm always writing, but I'm always dabbling with like new concepts and plot outlines, and I'm waiting for something to hook me. But I think that I need to just it's kind of like how in a relationship you kind of have to develop the love that you have. Like love is work, love is turning up and making it work even when it's hard. And I keep having one night stands with like for example, yesterday I wrote like 5,000 words of a uh apocalyptic romance-y kind of novel where it's a lady that gets traded to like a group of raiders, but it's actually like a flip on it where it's just something. And I'm like, I it just came to me, and I was like, this is not what I need to be doing right now. I have like 3 or 4. I keep saying like, I do apologize. It's gonna happen. I'm gonna try to work on it, but sorry. I do have 3 or 4 Caulfield specific romances with couples that are kind of integrated, but at the same time, when I set out to write small town romance, I like it as a concept. I like the setting, but at the same time, I don't know if I fully satiate the ooey gooey cushy small town aspect because I do a lot of people being upset about being cut off from culture or feeling isolated or wanting to move away as also part of the small town life. And I think a lot of people turn to small town life stories because they themselves live in the city and they want to escapism into what it would be like. They want to live in a romanticized small town. Whereas I tend to write it as I don't know, it technically falls into small town romance, but even with What the Heart Reads, I feel like that I don't even know if that would technically count as like a small town book because it kind of ends well, but it it does contend with that as a topic. But my future, I have one about a pair of game devs that live in this small. That's the other thing as well. All the jobs that I give people don't like this one town has a movie star that goes to it, a singer that goes to it, YouTubers and game devs, and I'm like, this is a quotation mark small town, but I have no bakery girl. I need a bakery girl. I need like a little chick that runs a bakery. But then the problem that I run into is I don't want every book to be this is the other thing is I'm already noticing like a pattern of plot and I just would hate I mean that's not a bad thing, I guess. But in my mind, if I have small town bakery lady, it's like, "Oh no, the bakery's in trouble and she has to try and make it work and a guy turns up and he, blah blah blah." Like I just don't want it to be the same pressure and plot contrivance, which is trying to save like a local business. But that kind of is like and well it just I don't know. Kind of reminds me of Toy Story in a strange way, where it's taking the same core plot element and then playing with it from different angles. So I really want to make sure that the next book that I write isn't just chick runs a small town business that is struggling, guy turns up, he makes the small town business not struggle anymore. Happy ending. I also don't want the solution to be to moving away. So yeah, I don't know. It's I like Coldfield. I also don't know if it's good or bad to only write in one series and then force myself to do a bunch of books in that one series up front, or if I am able to just play around and just write whatever I want, and then it is what it is. Because the appeal of doing a romance series that is technically standalone, because you can read any of the books on their own, but then when you how do I say this? You can read the first book, and then if you read the second and third, there might be cameos of the first couple, but they're not you could read those books independently and it wouldn't matter. You get rewarded as a reader for a little bit of that overlap, but it's not essential. It's not like a Marvel thing where you have no idea what's happening if you don't read it in order. I say Marvel, like the TV shows, where there's like the Loki TV show and the WandaVision TV show and the Shield TV show, and then there's also the movies, and then there's games and God knows what else. But in saying that, I also have my sci-fi books and my fantasy book, and I've got my zombie apocalypse, and I got a superhero one. But I still think that I like the rigidity and the expectations and the framework that come with writing a romance. So I kind of want to stick in that wheelhouse just while I'm still learning and improving at just the craft of pacing and character and storytelling because it keeps it very laser focused, doesn't let scope creep happen. And I just think I'm a genre fiction writer. I think I'm just a I don't know if I could ever be someone that writes something that's literary because I don't think that I'm critical enough or I don't know. I just cuz I read some books and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that's literature." But I just don't know if I want to put myself to that standard. Uh but it's also kind of hard because I do think that a lot of things that we consider classics nowadays were just written like even Shakespeare because that was just written to be performed to and it obviously he innovated language and created words and plot structures and lots of the things that he did end up influencing stuff now, but it was also written to be accessible for the people at the time. So having something be really dense and lofty and writing it with the intent for it to be literature doesn't that can also like get in your way. But at the moment, I am making TikToks a bunch and I'm trying really hard to not just sit and constantly refresh my sales page because I genuinely I just want to shoot my load out into the world and then people are going to read my book and then they'll tell me, well, I guess they'll tell each you talk amongst yourselves, I guess, and reviews. I'm trying not to look at reviews, but I have looked at reviews. And I think they've all been fair and I appreciate everybody that has reviewed the book so far. I don't That's another thing as well. I definitely think it's going to get to a point where I'm not going to be able to look at them anymore, but also at the same time, I I'm so used to being like an online content creator and having people to my face constantly tell me what they think of me. And then also having a background in art, same thing. And then doing fan fiction. I've had a lot of avenues of people giving me active feedback after the fact that I can't change or adapt to. So I don't know if I don't think my skin is like thicker by any means, but I think I have a little bit more of a threshold for it in terms of seeing the feedback and then thinking about it and then like metabolizing it. But I also don't want to be that person that's like constantly stressing out. My main concern is that there's like a typo or something, but I think there's ultimately always going to be a typo. I might do a second edition at some point. If I ever update the cover or anything like that, I might just be like, oh yeah, and also we went through it again and we fixed up any mistakes. But yeah, I feel like I'm very lucky and I'm just really excited to get started on the next thing. As said, I'm a little conundrum because I'm always writing. But the problem is that I'm not always I have like 30 little projects that I'll like open up and I'll type like 100 words here and like 200 words over here and I'll be like, "Oh, let me develop this a little bit. Let me work on this a little bit. Let me do this a little bit." So it's everything rising tide, like it's all of my stories are getting lifted up a little bit at a time, which is kind of cool because it means that I might end up in a position where I have like a bunch of books ready at the same time to get edited and stuff, but also it means that my focus is kind of split. So I do think I need to do the same thing that I did with What the Heart Reads, where I just pick a book and I'm like, you are my fixation for the next like 6 months. You are the one that we're doing. Uh, but also it's not even an active 6 months because the thing is, again, with What the Heart Reads, it was a month of actively writing it, and then I let it sit. I came back, I edited a little bit, and then I gave it to someone else, and then they had it for like a month, and then I got it back. So there's definitely pockets of time where I was able to pivot and work on other things. So I just need my my main focus hierarchical. You know the what I mean? Hierarchical, hierarchical. For the top, I need my pyramid, my top of my pyramid. I need that. Well, no, actually, the base of my pyramid. Pyramids of struggle. You get it. I need to work out my foundation, which is the bottom of the pyramid. I'm having a moment here where I'm realizing that, like, because in my mind, I'm having a different thought. Because in my mind, a pyramid, you think of the top of the pyramid, and that's like a king or whatever, and then the bottom is the peasant class. But the king thinks that he's the most important, but it's really the foundations of the pyramid, which is the thing that keeps it, you know, much to think about. Anyway, I need to work out what is my foundational project that gets my 80% focus, and I will invest in getting it edited and stuff like that, and rotate it into my wheelhouse and keep focus on and stuff like that. The problem, dear audience, if you're still here, is that I am such a mood based creator. If I play a bunch of fantasy games, I'll be like, ooh, I want to do something in fantasy. If I play a bunch of sci-fi, I'm like, ooh, I want to do something in the sci-fi space. So I really have to curate my media so I can really focus. I have to watch like a bunch of rom-coms and read some rom-com ebooks and then make myself do that. Not make myself, but I truly am just a little wind up toy that I just get an idea and I get going and I start like freaking out if I can't do it. So anyway, this is just a little update to say my book is out. Yay. And then I have been writing, but it's sort of across multiple projects, but I'm currently trying to narrow down what my next project will be. I think I'm just going to not give a fuck slash pause I'm just gonna write whatever the fuck I want and then publish it. And then it is what it is. Even if it kind of ends up being like similar. Because I think I don't want to name names, but I'll definitely say there's some authors that just kind of do the exact same arrangement of plot elements and characters and dynamics and tropes, and then they just do like 20 of those. I could do that. I like what I like. I'll write what I like. I like what I write. I like what I write. Anyway, thank you for being here during this, whatever this is. I hope to continue to improve and get maybe more edited / like more effort into these videos. Because right now I'm just like turning up, press the live like record button, and then I'm like going off the rip. But that's kind of what I want to do because I want to create accountability. Because if by okay, promise me, you look at each other, promise next time I'm here, I'm going to tell you, I'll be like, oh, I have decided I'm working on blank. I'm working on this project. It's decided. Next time I see you, I'll tell you, I'll be like, I have written this many words in it. Oh yeah, by the way, I do have about 20,000 words. Let's say project 1, project 2, project 3. Project 1, I have like 20,000 words. Actually, this is already confusing me. The point is, I have 3 projects in the Coalfield space. Each of them are like 10 to 20,000 words each. So I do have steps in that direction. I have a radio DJ, which I'm debating how I'm going to do that. I might just make her just a straight up YouTuber, but I had a radio DJ character plotline. I have an actress who comes to Coalfield to record a movie. I have a game dev who lives on the outskirts of Coalfield, and there's like a game studio in the area. I have an heiress who comes back to revitalize an Airbnb. I have a pop star who comes back to visit her dad. And then I want to do a news reporter one as well. But I don't know if I think the news reporter one I might have to just do in a different universe. But anyway, so those are the ones that those are the stories that I have, and I have like at least 10 to 20,000 words per those with characters and dynamics and stuff like that. And I also have more or less like the character archetypes worked out as well. So it's more just like delineating the plot so that they feel different enough. They're not just the exact same plot. Because realistically, I don't want to do little lady struggling with her business and then guy turns up and he fixes it for her. Because like a lot of those could be that plot. And I just want to try to like not have that be how it works. So anyway, that's been me. It's been 20 minutes almost. I have to cut this down. If you haven't already, consider checking out my book, What the Heart Reads. It's about a lady that inherits a bookstore. She inherits a 40% share of the bookstore. And then the guy that has a 60% share of the bookstore turns up and he wants to sell it and she wants to keep it. And hijinks ensue. It's basically every trope. Height difference. Grumpy sunshine. Second chance. There is miscommunication, but it's for good reason. Just please give it a chance. Okay, I'm gonna leave now. I have to go I have to cut stuff. I'll see you next time. Goodbye.